What is happening, people? The Liverpool Prophet is back again. And we have some unfortunate news today to talk about. Um, Pretty unfortunate. It has come out that Kelleher is set to leave Liverpool at the end of the season in the summer. Um, Reports say that Kelleher would like a new challenge from Liverpool, somewhere he will be getting regular game time. He'll be a starter. He is grateful for being at Liverpool for as long as he has been. Um, Grateful to be playing for a club like Liverpool. Um, Grateful to occasionally get a start, but he has come out and said that he wishes to leave because he feels that he deserves more game time as a regular starter, as opposed to being a second choice. And I understand. To be fair, I understand this 100%. He deserves to be a starter at another club because he is a talented goalkeeper. But let me just say, a massive, massive thank you to Kelleher to start off with. Whenever Alisson has been injured, and Alisson has gotten injured a couple of times over the last couple of years, Kelleher has always stepped in and stepped up for us. Whenever Kelleher plays, he rarely makes a mistake. Other than the maybe one game where I think he had a poor game against Newcastle this season in the 3-3 draw. Other than that, whenever Kelleher has played, he has been solid. You know, a top servant. Hasn't played a lot, but whenever he's needed, has stepped up and delivered a solid performance. So for me, thank you to Kelleher for that. Thank you a lot. Stepped up whenever you were needed. Considering we had Adrian before him, who was an atrocious keeper, having a backup like Kelleher has helped over the last couple of years. So first off, thank you to Kelleher. You will be missed a lot at Liverpool. But moving on, where could Kelleher go next? Obviously he wants regular game time. He won't be going to a top club, I feel, because they've all got top keepers themselves. I can see Kelleher at a club like, no, I don't think he'd go to a newly promoted club, to be fair. I think maybe at a club like someone who's in need of a goalkeeper right now. Maybe a club like a Bournemouth. Maybe a club like a Brighton, even. Heck, I think even Chelsea would take Kelleher, to be fair. I think he'd do a good job at Chelsea. There's some good teams in the league that I think would take Kelleher that are in need of a goalkeeper. I think the most linked one that I'm seeing at the moment is Bournemouth. They've obviously got that Neto keeper, I think, still, who I think is a good keeper, so I don't understand why they'd be looking at Kelleher, but I'm seeing strong links to Bournemouth. I think Brighton, he could do a job at Brighton. Brighton are in need of a good goalkeeper. They haven't had one for a while. Maybe not a Wolves. Maybe, there's some decent clubs that would take Kelleher, I feel, with them, because he do a very, very solid job. But look, it is totally understandable. He wants game time, and he's not going to get that at Liverpool. With Alisson as number one goalkeeper, Alisson, nothing to be said. Best goalkeeper in the world. Best goalkeeper in the Premier League. No one is starting over Alisson ever. Whenever Alisson plays, he's always going to be number one choice. Best keeper in the world. Best keeper in the land. Best keeper in the league by a country mile. So whenever Alisson's fit and available, which is most of the time, to be fair, he's going to play. And it's unfortunate for Kelleher, because I think if we had someone a bit, not like an Alisson, maybe someone like a Edison or a Vicario, maybe then Kelleher could get a bit more game time. But with Alisson as our number one, he's never going to get game time, is he? He's always going to be sat on the bench. Because look, Alisson has to play number one. Proved himself over years, made crucial saves for us in huge games. And no brainer, whenever he's available, Ali has to start. So it's unfortunate for Kelleher that he's been number two, but when you have a keeper like Alisson, there's no chance of getting in, really, is there? But I wanted to touch on our other goalkeeper on loan at Gio Marcedeva, something like that. On loan at Valencia, I believe. Who is also going to be coming back to the club this summer. it looks like what will be happening is Kelleher will be moved on, and this guy will be brought in as the new backup. This backup goalkeeper, which is interesting because I've heard that he's having a really good season in La Liga. Valencia were in the relegation zone a couple of weeks ago. They've shot right up that table to ninth, and apparently it's been because of him making crucial saves in games to keep them in it, and he has single-handedly clawed them back up to ninth. But I'm reading that he is coming in, and the quotes that I've read is that he is coming in not to be a number 2 choice. He's coming in to be number 1, and well, I've got to say good luck to you, mate, because you are not starting over Alisson. In no world is he coming in and starting over Alisson unless he proves himself massively, and Alisson has a massive drop off. So if he comes in, he is going to have to accept that he is going to be a backup choice here as long as Alisson's at the club. That's how it is. He's not coming in and being number 1 for us. As long as Ali's at the club, he is going to be the backup goalkeeper, the number 2 choice, unfortunately, and that is how it is. That is how it is. But it's a shame that we're going to lose Kelleher, because I think over the years, Kelleher has stepped up. I think this season when Alisson was injured, up until Alisson was injured for a good couple of weeks this year, Kelleher really stepped up and came into his own, and he really delivered for us. And it is totally understandable why he wants to leave, because he wants first team football. I'm a bit gutted, to be fair. I am a bit gutted. I think having Kelleher as a backup, as our number 2, is perfect, because he's arguably the best backup goalkeeper in the league. And he's always solid when he comes in. And the last thing you want is to lose Kelleher to another club. And we bring in Giorgi, and he's not as good as Kelleher as a backup. And when Alisson gets injured, we have a situation where we have a really poor goalkeeper and the defence are looking really nervous. That's what happened last time in 1920 when we had Adrian. Alisson was injured. The defence did not trust Adrian one bit, and we were leaking goals left, right and centre. That's the last thing you want to happen next season. If Alisson gets injured, we have a goalkeeper at the defence is nervous and around and with us do not trust. So hopefully the club are making the right decision on this one. I hope they are, but it's an interesting situation. Kelleher leaving. I'm seeing that. I did want to touch on one thing though. Alisson getting injured a lot. It seems that the last couple of years, Alisson's picked up a couple of knocks injury-wise, which is strange because he never used to pick them up first. Now, I don't know if that's age catching up to him, but look, goalkeepers and age, it doesn't worry me, because goalkeepers can play till they're like 39, 40. We've seen it with Neuer, Buffon, other goalkeepers. They can play until they're in their early 40s. So, Alisson, for me, he's still got a lot of years left at the top for me in his prime. He's still got a lot of years left at Liverpool, a lot of years left as a top goalkeeper. But his injury record is concerning a bit now, because he is picking up a lot of knocks in the season, and he is missing sustainable amounts of games. So I hope if this Giorgi guy comes in, that he is a good backup, because the track record tells you that Alisson will most likely pick up a knock again next season at some point and be out for a couple of games. We're going to need this guy to step up and prove his worth, aren't we? Because, when Alisson does get injured, we've had Kelleher to rely on. We won't have that next season. We need this Giorgi guy to step up then and, prove his worth. So, yeah, it's an interesting saga. Very interesting, but I'm not sure where Kelleher could end up. I think if you're a lower level club like Wolves, maybe like a Brentford, I think he'd be perfect at a club like Brentford. They're in need of a goalkeeper. They haven't exactly got a goalkeeper, so I think he'd fit in well at Brentford. I think Brentford and Brighton are 2 clubs that Kelleher would do very well at. For example, both of them clubs don't really have a goalkeeper. I think with everyone else, they have a goalkeeper. Wolves have got Jose Sarr. Palace have got Dean Henderson. Newcastle have got Nick Pope. West Ham have got Areola. Aston Villa, Martinez. Everyone's got their standout goalkeeper in the Premier League. I think you look at Brentford and Brighton, those are 2 clubs that don't really have a proper goalkeeper, and I think either of them clubs, if Kelleher went there, he'd do very well at. He would fit in really well, and he'd improve them a lot. But yeah, it's very unfortunate that Kelleher is leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. It's unfortunate, but like I said, he wants game time. He wants to be a number 1. He's never going to be a number 1 here as long as Ali's here. So it's unfortunate, but we thank him for his services. He's been a solid servant whenever Alisson's been out. He's come in and done a job. So for Kelleher, thank Kelleher from the bottom of my heart. I think he's stepped up hugely when he's been needed to, and I wish him well wherever he goes next. But let me know in the comments what you think, guys, on Kelleher leaving. I think personally he's making the right decision for his career. If he wants to progress in his career and be a proper goalkeeper, be regarded as a top keeper, I think he's making the right decision in leaving and playing first team football somewhere else. But Liverpool fans, let me know in the comments, what do you think about Queen Kelleher leaving? We may all have different opinions, but that's what it's all about, isn't it? So let me know in the comments. Queen Kelleher set to leave Liverpool. Let me know your thoughts.